And honestly, I think navigating the world now and data is just, it is a full-time job in itself, and no one can ever know anything. Like there is, like you said, there is papers after papers, and there's tiny nuance in each thing. This is where you need an element of trust too, I think, as well, because just like when someone comes to see me and wants an anaesthetic, they would trust that I know what I'm doing and that I could keep them alive from an anaesthetic, and I could get them through that. Just like when you build a house, you have a plumber that does the plumbing, you have an electrician that does the electrical wiring in the house, things like that. You need to trust professionals in their field. And the way science works is a single study quite often by itself doesn't really mean a lot. Sometimes it does. Sometimes we have some really, really good studies, some really big trials that mean a lot. There's a lot of people in them, and they have quite statistically significant differences. However, what we find is that what we want in scientific research is we want multiple papers from multiple sources. We want multiple authors from multiple places in the world, multiple centres, producing the same consistent and reproducible results. And that will essentially form what we call a scientific consensus, where we have a consensus of scientists who sit down and analyse the data and go, you know what, here's all the evidence we have. Our full-time job is to look at this, understand their own biases, because we are riddled with our own biases, confirmation bias being the mother of all biases.
Absolutely.
And these scientists sitting down together and saying, okay, let's have a look at the data. These are our conclusions. And we're getting that now. The Eat Lancet did that.
Yeah.
The World Health Organization, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the United Nations, all these major scientific organizations are starting to really get behind it, and it's starting to move forward, but you're always going to have people who dig their heels in. And the interesting thing is, we're so compelled by our own biases that the data shows, psychological data shows that if you challenge people's beliefs and you show them information contrary to what they believe, they dig their heels in even further, and it solidifies what they believe even more. And you'll always get these people. You can show anyone a picture of the world a picture of the world that's round. There'll be people who say, nah, it's flat. That's bullshit. Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the S word on this podcast, mate.
I'll tick the explicit bomb. Yeah.
But that's the reality of the world we live in. So, like we said, we want scientific consensus, and it's quite clear that we need to transition to a predominantly plant-based diet. Okay, and most people will say that because most people don't want to stop eating meat and dairy. If you want the best diet for your health, then I think the research overwhelmingly points to the fact that you should eat an 80 to 90% plant-based diet. If you want the best diet for the planet and the animals, you should eat a 100% plant-based diet.